everyone, it's Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video is washcloth of the month number 6 because it's June, and the name of our washcloth is of course the corner to corner washcloth. This particular corner to corner is the block style corner to corner, sometimes called the C2C. And I thought it would be a great idea to use our washcloth of the month to make a pretty washcloth and practice the skills of how to do the CTC or corner to corner block style crochet pattern. It's super easy once you get started. The hardest part is learning how to begin and how to decrease. But don't worry, we're going to go over all of it and you'll be a pro when we're done. Now today's washcloth measures about 10 by 10 inches, and I'll also explain to you how you can make it smaller or bigger depending on what size that you want. Now you'll notice I have 3 different looking washcloths here, and one of my testers used our corner to corner to make a patriotic striped and solid washcloth. I think it turned out lovely. This is acrylic yarn. She prefers acrylic yarn for her washcloths, and so I told her go for it. Let's see how it turns out. So if you prefer acrylic, you'll see it works just fine. The other 2 we have here is, this one is just a variegated with some pink and gray and white. It's just your basic. And then this one is made using the Scrub Off by Sugar and Cream. And you can see that it has some scrubby in it and some scrubby up here. Now the blue one, I had a little trouble with this particular portion of the yarn because you know it goes from like a solid cotton and then it goes to variegated and it's got the scrubby already built in. I had a little trouble with this blue portion of it breaking, so there isn't very much of the blue, but you can use the scrub off yarn for this as well. And I just wanted you to see these 3 different ways that this pattern was done so that you can see that there are lots of different possibilities with the corner to corner scrubby washcloth pattern. And as always, you can find this free crochet pattern down in the notes underneath this video. If you would like to know where all the other washcloth of the months are, you can also find that link down underneath this video as well. That page will take you to where you will find the written patterns and the videos all together. Now for today's video, I'm going to be using Peaches and Cream in this solid pink and in this yellow. I'm going to do half and half. And the reason I'm going to do that is I want you to see how the blocks work and also how the decrease works. And although I love this variegated, it's a little bit difficult to see. Along with this other one, it's also a little bit difficult to see when you're working with the scrubby yarns. But of course, you can use any cotton or cotton blend as long as it's a medium number 4 yarn. And if you're someone who, like this tester, who likes to use acrylic for her washcloths, make sure it's a medium number 4. I personally prefer cotton or cotton blend for my washcloths. We're going to be using an eye hook today, and the eye hook is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need your scissors, and then you'll also need a needle just to weave in those ends. Now, it's a great idea when you're first learning this particular pattern stitch to maybe grab some yarns that you already have on hand and just practice. You'll find it's going to move along really fast, and I think you're really going to love this pattern. All right, let's get started. We're going to begin with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 6 chains. We're going to place a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to place a double crochet in the 5th and 6th chain as well. So we have our chain 3 that we didn't stitch in. Then we have 3 double crochets. Now we're going to chain 6 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, we're going to place a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, we'll place a double crochet in the 5th and 6th chain as well. So now we have a chain 3 and our 3 double crochets again. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn this so it sits like this, and we're going to join in this space that's formed from that first chain 3. So we're going to go in and slip stitch in that space and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And now in this same space, we're going to stitch 3 double crochets. And I think now you can already see how the corner to corner is going to be formed. We made one block on our first row, and then we made a block here and a block here on our second row. All right, let's do row 3. We're going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to stitch a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. One double crochet in the next 2. Again, we're going to turn this up and slip stitch in that chain 3 space. We're going to chain 3. We'll stitch 3 double crochets in that chain 3 space. Then we'll again slip stitch in the next chain 3 space and chain 3 and stitch 3 double crochets in the chain 3 space. 1, 2, and 3. And so now for row 3, we made 3 blocks. 1, 2, 3. We had 1 block on the first row, 2 blocks on the second row, and 3 blocks on the third row. All right, let's do row 4. So again, we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 double crochet in the next 2 chains. We're going to turn our work up, slip stitch in the chain 3 space, stitch 3 chains, and then 3 double crochets. There we go. slip stitch in the next chain 3 space on that next block, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. Slip stitch in the chain 3 on the next block, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And I think you're starting to see how the pattern works. So now for row 4 we have 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. Started with 1, 2, 3, and now 4 blocks. All right, let's do row 5. Chain 6, double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, and then 1 double crochet in the next 2 chains, now we're going to slip stitch in that chain 3 space and chain 3 and stitch 3 double crochets in that chain 3 space. 1, 2, 3. We're going to slip stitch in the next chain 3 space on the next block, chain 3 and 3 double crochets. Slip stitch in the next chain 3 of the next block, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3, and slip stitch in the chain 3 space on this next block, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And so now for row 5 we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. And so what we're going to do is we're going to continue to repeat what we're doing for 5 more rows, or until you have 10 blocks across. You'll do the chain 6, double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, double crochet in that 5th and 6th chain, join to the chain 3 space with your slip stitch, chain 3, and stitch those 3 double crochets, and repeat back and forth until you have a total of 10 blocks across. You'll have 10 blocks across this way, and you'll have 10 blocks across this way as well. So repeat for 5 more rows until you have 10 blocks. So now I have continued to repeat until I have 10 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so we're getting ready to begin decreasing on our next row. If you want to make your washcloth bigger, you can continue to repeat what we've been doing for as many rows as you need. My blocks are roughly an inch using the eye hook. And so you can measure to see how yours go and how many you need to continue to do in order to make it bigger. If this is too big for you, you can do less and then begin your decrease rows. All right, so to make a 10 by 10 washcloth with this pattern, you're going to need 10 blocks on the bottom row, 10 blocks on the side, and 10 blocks down the center. All right, I'm going to be changing to my pink yarn so that you can see clearly how to begin your decrease rows. I'm going to cut my yarn. I'm going to bring in my next color, which is this pink, and we're going to chain 1. Now, if you are not changing colors here, just chain 1. We're going to turn, and we're going to slip stitch in these stitches. So we'll stitch a slip stitch in the stitches with the 3 double crochets. So that'll be 3 slip stitches. Then we'll slip stitch in the chain 3 space and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so now we're just going to work back down like we have been. 3 double crochets, 1, and 3. We'll slip stitch in that chain 3 space and chain 3. And you'll notice, let's go back and look at this real quick. We slip stitched across so we don't have an additional square or block there. And then we're just going to work back down, stitching the way that we already have on the previous rows. Slip stitch in the chain 3 space, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. Slip stitch in the chain 3 space, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. And see how that looks? Let me bring this down a little bit. And we'll continue across this row, stitching those block stitches till we get to the last block stitch. Here's where we started our decrease, and I stitched those blocks the same way all the way down, and now I'm to this last block. And what we're going to do is we're going to join like we usually do to that chain 3 space, but we're going to chain 1 and turn our work, and then slip stitch in those 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch in that chain 3 space and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now what I want to show you here is we've decreased down, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we decreased so that now that we have 9 blocks instead of 10. And so now we're going to just continue to work those block stitches back down this next row. There we go. We slip stitched across, we joined to that chain 3 space with a slip stitch, chain 3, and stitch 3 double crochets just like normal. And then we'll go to the next chain 3 space, slip stitch, and chain 3. And 3 double crochets. And so we'll just work right down this row like we have the other ones. working all the way down with our block stitches till we reach the last block stitch on this side. So I continued to stitch my block stitches down my row or up my row, depending on how you're looking at it. Here's my last block stitch. I'm going to join to that chain 3 space with a slip stitch. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. And so now we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks. And you'll notice, just like with every row at the beginning, we increased by a block. Every row when we're decreasing, we're going to decrease by a block. And so again, I'm going to slip stitch in those 3 double crochets and slip stitch into my chain 3 space, chain 3, there we go, and 3 double crochets. All right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to continue decreasing every row at the beginning and end until we're down to just 1 block. We join, we chain 1, we turn, slip stitch in the 3 double crochets, slip stitch in the chain 3 space, chain 3, 3 double crochets, and repeat all the way across. And we'll repeat this until we're down to just 1 block. So I've continued to repeat and decrease down until I just have that 1 block. And again, I wanted to show you before I do that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks on this side. And so it's 10 by 10 by 10 by 10 all the way around. And so now I'm going to finish up this corner and then show you how to add a trim. And so I have decreased down to that 1 block. I'm going to join in that chain 3 space with a slip stitch, chain 1, and turn, slip stitch in those 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch in that chain 3 space and chain 1. And now it's all ready for the trim. The way we're going to do the trim is we're just going to stitch a row of single crochet around the 4 sides. When you're stitching in these chain 3 spaces on the sides, that can be a little bit challenging. We have our slip stitches we can stitch in, and that makes it nice. But what I recommend that you do is that you stitch your single crochets in those chains from the chain spaces, and then stitch your single crochets in your slip stitches where we slip stitched. And that's going to give you a nice, neat appearance. The main thing is that you want it to be even, and you want to try not to stitch in the holes. There is not a set number of stitches for this project on the side. It's just you need to look at it, eyeball it, do your best to go in the sides of the stitches and not the holes. And do whatever you think looks neat for your project. Now I did my washcloth 2 different colors, but I'm going to stick with the pink even when I'm going around the edge on the yellow. I want my trim to be all, or my trim, my edge to be all the same color. Now, you again can do your washcloth in any colors or combination of colors that you would like. If you want to change colors on the trim, you certainly can. I just chose not to. And I love a project like this where you can use your creative juices and do whatever colors and whatever size works best for you. All right, I'm going to continue down to this corner, and then I'm going to show you how to do the corner, because we want to put 3 single crochets in that corner so that the corners of our washcloth work around smoothly. All right, almost there. There we go. A little bit snug in there. All right, now this brings me to the corner, so I'm going to place 3 single crochets right in this corner. And then I'll keep going around. There we go. So you can see we put 3 in that corner so that the corner moves smoothly around the corner. I'm going to continue on with my single crochets, putting 3 single crochets in each of the 4 corners and join back over here where we started our trim. So I've stitched the trim all the way around the edges, making sure I put 3 single crochets in the corners. Here's my last corner where I put my 3 single crochets. I'm going to join to that first single crochet, clip my yarn, then we'll go to the next stitch from behind and pull that loop to the back. That way the front looks nice and neat, and we can weave this in with our needle. And one thing about cotton yarn, it's real important that you weave that in real good, because for some reason cotton yarn doesn't seem to hold unless you go in and really stitch it in securely. And so you want to go through fibers and stitches and not holes. Go one way, turn and come back the way you came, and if you can, go through those same fibers that you just stitched through. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and cut that off. I've already weaved in the other ends where we did our joins and this end as well. I'm pulling it out a little so you can see the blocks, see the squares, how it turned out, and I'm loving it. Love, love, loving doing it with the 2 colors. It's super fun. All right, so that is our washcloth of the month for June, C2C or corner to corner block stitch.